from vertex form to standard form. So if we wanted to go from something like this, where we have vertex form, like y equals x plus 2 squared plus 5, to something like y equals x squared plus 4x plus 9, that's in standard form, we're going to want to do that because it gives us more information. So in vertex form, we're able to see our vertex very clearly, but in standard form, we're able to see our y-intercept. So sometimes that can be really, really helpful to be able to convert from one to the other. So how can I do this? So really all you have to do is simplify. And we're going to do that using order of operations. So using parentheses first, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. And typically there's not going to be anything that we need to do for parentheses. So we're just going to usually skip that step. But we're still going to check it and make sure that there's nothing that we need to do there. So in our first example, y equals x minus 3 squared plus 5, we're going to first check to see if there's anything inside the parentheses that I can simplify. There is nothing inside the parentheses that I can simplify, so we're going to check that box. Next, I need to do exponents, and I see I have an exponent here. All that that's telling me I need to do is take x minus 3 and multiply it by itself. So I'm going to set this up again as y equals x minus 3 times x minus 3 plus 5. And there we go. We did our exponents check. Okay, so now we need to multiply and divide. But since I have two binomials that are being multiplied together, I need to be very careful and make sure I multiply each part by everything else. So I'm going to start with that x in the first set of parentheses and multiply it by everything in the second. So I'm going to multiply x by x and x by negative 3, and I get x squared minus 3x. Then I have to take negative 3 and multiply it by everything in the second set of parentheses. And when I do that, I get negative 3x plus 9. And then I have that plus 5 at the end that I haven't touched yet. So now I've multiplied and divided. Nice. All right, so my last step is to add and subtract. So I need to just combine my like terms. I see I have negative 3x, 9, and 5. So when I combine those, I'm going to get x squared minus 6x plus 14. And that's my final answer. That's as simplified as I can write it. So I am all done with this problem. All right, for this next example, again, there's nothing inside the parentheses that I can simplify. So I'm going to check that box. I messed up. I put the little thing in the wrong spot. But I do want to highlight that little negative that's in front of the x plus 2 squared, even though the highlighted box is in the wrong spot. Because that's going to make it a little bit more challenging for us when we go to actually do the multiplication. Okay, so now I highlighted it in the right spot. That exponent, all I did was I took it and I multiplied what was being brought to the exponent by itself. So I have x plus 2 being multiplied by x plus 2. So my exponent box is checked. And next I have to multiply and divide going from left to right. So I want to take care of that negative as soon as possible because I don't want to forget about it. So I'm going to multiply that in. So going from left to right, I'm going to start with that negative and I'm going to multiply by the x plus 2. So I'm going to multiply negative by x. It's like multiplying a negative 1. So I'm going to multiply negative 1 by x and negative 1 by 2, and I get negative x minus 2. And then I kept everything else the same. Okay, so now I need to continue on by multiplying, and now I'm doing the same thing I did last time. I'm going to start with that negative x, and I'm going to multiply it by everything in the second set of parentheses. So when I do that, I get negative x squared plus minus 2x. And then I'm going to take the negative 2 and multiply that by everything in the second set of parentheses. So I'm going to get negative 2x minus 4. And then I still have that negative 1 that's at the end. So now I've multiplied and divided, and now I just have to go on and add and subtract. So I see my like terms, and when I combine them, I get negative x squared minus 4x minus 5. So that negative that was in the front made a really big difference. I need to make sure that I multiply that in. Otherwise, I would have had a lot of positive numbers here. But because I had that negative, my x squared is negative and my 4x is negative. So You have to really pay attention to that negative that's being multiplied in. And remember your order of operations as well, because this negative wants to multiply by the x plus 2. But that x plus 2 also has an exponent. So you have to ask yourself, what comes first, the exponent or the multiplication? And exponents always come before multiplying and dividing. So that exponent had to come first. All right, I have one more example for you. We got y equals 3 times x plus 1 squared plus 1. So again, there's nothing inside my parentheses to simplify. X and 1 are not like terms, so I'm going to go ahead and check that box. Now I know x plus 1 is being squared. It's also being multiplied by 3, but like I just said, you have to do your exponents first. So I'm going to rewrite this with x plus 1 being multiplied by itself. All right, there we go. So now I can go ahead and multiply and divide. Again, I have that 3 that's being multiplied by x plus 1. I need to take care of that first. I need to make sure that I end up multiplying everything by 3. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply 3 by x and 3 by 1. So 3x plus 3, and then everything else that I already had. I had x plus 1 plus 1. Now I'm going to go and do my binomial distribution. I'm going to start with the 3x, and I'm going to multiply that by everything else that I need to multiply it by. So I got 3x times x and 3x times 1. I get 3x squared plus 3x. And lastly, I'm going to take that 3 and multiply that by everything in my second set of parentheses, which gives me 3x plus 3. And then I still have that plus 1. I'm going to combine all of my like terms. I see a 3x plus 3x, and I see a 3 plus 1. So that gives me 3x squared plus 6x plus 4. And that's all I got. That's all I have to do. I am all done. So that is how we're going to convert from vertex form to standard form so that I can see both my vertex and my y-intercept.